The pilot and the driver of the car that was hit are doing well. We want to show you the scene, and I'll walk you through what we saw because we actually witnessed this plane crash. It's usually something small that can be replaced, a phone, car keys, but a local disabled artist says he lost something far more valuable. But also, as we've been following all this new construction out here at Salt Lake City International Airport, at the same time, airport officials say there's a huge demand here for new international flights. Community effort, Dan, and you will see why. Take a look. This is how deep the snow is. We're in Huntsville right now.
But we want to begin tonight with Jeremy Harris, who's live in South Dakota for us tonight. And Jeremy,
tonight we're not only hearing his family story, but also a warning of what you might not know about your dentist. Just within the last half hour, I have spoken with Sheriff Perkins here in Garfield County. He says he just came down from there. No new structures lost. And for Salt Lake City Police, they even now have an entire building for it. But 40 years ago, things were very different. And we heard a loud smack and saw a plume of smoke come up. We raced over here, got here right as the police department was pulling up. Watch closely to the left side of the screen. You can hear the plane approach and come into frame. Then listen, and you can hear the crash. The video picks up again as we ran towards the flames of the plane. It was chaotic. Police, fire trucks, and ambulances started arriving. 1900 West. Bystanders checked this woman who was driving the car that was hit. She was taken to the hospital.
If the car wasn't there, he would have been able to land.
Jay Barnes saw the plane come down.
One wheel hit the car, spun the car around, spun it around, burst into flames as soon as it hit the ground. I helped the lady get out of the car, and the guy in the plane jumped right out and ran over to the sidewalk.
This road is busy all day, and typically in the afternoon it gets busier.
Roy police say the pilot walked away from the plane.
It's a violent scene, but everyone's okay.
The people who live near here started to gather around the police tape.
You just hear this boom, and we just took off running to make sure we wanted to help.
The chaos turned to calm as everyone here, police included, couldn't believe the pilot and the driver made it out safe.
Usually in a case like this, yeah, you would expect someone to be injured, and we're happy that that is not the case today. The afternoon peace of the mountains broke with the sound of first responders
Sean and I are making our way back down to that location,
racing against the clock to save a man's life.
A hiker who said his fellow hiker had fallen about 200 feet.
Up on the hill, you can see rescuers near Lisa Falls. They had to fight terrain and altitude to get to him.
They could see that he was still breathing but not moving. So speed was really important here, trying to get someone to him.
With the help of the public safety helicopter, the man was hoisted up and flown down to a waiting ambulance. This mountain road meant for cars became a makeshift emergency room where the patient teetered the line of life and death.
He had to have that treatment or he may not have made it to the hospital. So they had to make sure that his airway was clear and he was breathing. I think he was having problems, a lot of problems with breathing.
An AirMed chopper waited as the medical team worked furiously. Once he was stable, they wasted no time in loading him in.
A fall up there is not just a fall, it's a fall on a lot of rocky material, and so I'm sure that he's probably in a really tough position right now.
The rescue on the ground ended as the rescuers watched the chopper lift off and carry the man to his next hurdle in the fight for his life.
If we can get to someone like that, we can get them out and get medical attention right away.
All my neighbors were out.
Cops were circling, and then they started coming over here. And
all the neighbors could do was watch as their apartment building became a crime scene.
And they just come out with guns. There's a whole bunch with guns.
And to everyone wondering what happened,
that somebody's getting killed. That's what I thought.
Either way, it's a crime of emotion.
I think so.
Tom Mitchell was the one telling the story.
4 shots.
4 shots.
He made
boom,
4.
Boom, boom,
he went boom, boom, boom. It sounded like he was right outside my door.
Tom lives on the 2nd floor. He took cover in his apartment until the shots were over.
And then I opened my door and peeked out, and my neighbors were out there, so I went out.
The officers were able to fairly quickly locate the correct apartment.
Murray police say inside, a 59-year-old man lay dead. The suspect got out of the locked building and ran before they got here.
The investigators are going to look at everything they possibly can with surveillance, witness, physical evidence.
A single bullet hole shattered the window. Other bullets must have hit the victim, who died inside.
I mean, this all happened like in about 15 seconds.
Leaving everyone here to wonder how a 55 and up apartment complex became a murder scene.
Why that happened in this building is just, it's unreal.
I do have something that is not finished.
When it's time to draw, Joko Rizvanovic is meticulous.
There.
He pays close attention to every detail and paints on the ground because he has a bad leg. He paints up close because he can't see.
Blind? Yeah, right.
Despite being mostly blind, Joko's paintings have won several awards.
It takes a while to make a painting, a drawing like this.
But this picture of his daughter as a baby was worth more than any award.
It's not less than 100 hours on it. And to lose it, I was almost crying, you know.
But Joko can only show us this painting on his phone. He and his daughter were coming home on the tracks from getting the picture framed last week.
If you see something.
Joko says he was flustered when he got off the train.
Oh my gosh, where is my painting? And she's, on the train, Daddy.
As he went to the platform, he called UTA, but nobody had turned in the painting.
UTA information, I called them 3 times. Call tomorrow, call Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays.
Nearly a week has passed and there's no sign of Joko's painting.
Why did I lose some other one painting, or why this one?
He hoped to enter this piece in a contest for disabled artists. Now, he just wants his work back.
Just give me this one. It's my daughter.
From 1942 till now is what it is, a long time.
John Nicholas Jr. grew up in Sunset, a 2-mile long by half-mile wide town where his dad served as mayor.
It was a good life for them, and they enjoyed it immensely.
When fire broke out at the Nicholas home earlier this year, the news spread fast.
Holy crap.
Of course, by the time I got there, it was well on its way to, you know, full-blown burning.
Firefighters told John Jr. exactly what he feared.
94 years old, 93 years old, my mom and dad weren't marathon runners.
The fire that killed John and Ada burned just 200 yards down the road from the Sunset City Fire Station. But a 2 News investigation found when firefighters got the call, there were issues here at the station and their fire engine didn't start. The nearby Clinton Fire Department raced to the scene and supported Sunset Fire while their firefighters worked to start the engine. Kevin Snow was a volunteer with Sunset Fire.
And that did happen. The fire truck didn't start. But as we know, we can walk out to our own cars every day and turn the key in and not start, you know. It's just one of those fluke things.
If it was a fluke, it was a fluke that didn't get explained in Sunset's report on the fatal fire.
Not knowing why that wouldn't start bothers me more than the fact that it didn't start.
City Councilman Chad Bangerter says he wanted answers about why the truck didn't start when it was needed the most.
Well, I was concerned with who the main operators were of that fire truck. And what other incidences had there been that were similar to this. And I really never ever got a response.
2 News obtained department maintenance records that show Engine 12's most recent service was more than a year before the fire that killed the Nicholas couple. Those same maintenance records show Sunset's ambulance didn't start on a call in December of last year, and 2 News cameras were there in June when the ambulance failed again. Firefighters had to jump-start it as they were trying to respond to a call. It was the 3rd Sunset Fire vehicle failure we know of. The City Council voted to close Sunset's volunteer fire department and contract with nearby North Davis Fire, saying the small town just did not have the money to replace aging equipment and keep the fire department open.
If Sunset was different, then we would be looking at a different scenario, but we're not.
But concerns about Sunset's fire department spread beyond City Hall. This report details a meeting between Davis County Sheriff Todd Richardson and the City Council in 2016. Deputies voiced concerns about Sunset's EMT's ability to perform basic life-saving measures. The deputies also questioned if Sunset's EMTs were falsifying official reports from a call where Davis County paramedics and Sunset Fire responded.
Who writes this stuff unless they're out to get someone, though? I mean, you know what I mean?
But Sunset Fire volunteers are fighting back.
So this is just nitpicking and, you know, and just going after the fire department. That's all it is.
Snow says Councilman Bangerter has bad blood with the fire department. He says the City Council withheld available funds to replace the fire vehicles that consistently failed.
Yeah, if you're going to ignore us, we're going to put this to the vote. If the citizens don't want the fire department, then the citizens have spoken, and we're fine with that.
For now, the fire station remains vacant.
They all seemed very considerate and concerned that things were being taken care of.
And despite the fire truck's failure on the day of the fatal fire, the Nicholas family has nothing but praise for the volunteers who responded.
I don't know that I could ask for any better treatment than I received from Sunset City Fire Department.
Inside this secured room at Salt Lake City Police Headquarters are some of the worst stories this city has ever known. Each binder contains the horrific details of life after life lost to murder. One of those murders happened here at an apartment building near Temple Square in 1978. Anthony Adams was found stabbed to death inside of his apartment.
The man is obviously dead. He has been for quite some time.
This 2 News File video from the day of the murder shows police outside Adams' apartment.
It appears to be his throat was cut.
Adams was a well-known activist in Salt Lake City. He was black and gay and an organizer in the local Socialist Party.
It devastated the community at that time because it was so well known.
Ben Williams is a gay historian. He says Adams' murder and other suspected murders of gay men around the same time spread fear around Salt Lake.
Community activism came to a halt at that point.
40 years later, the city has changed a lot, and detectives would like another shot at solving Adams' death.
And that knife, it would have had DNA on it belonging to the suspect.
But when detectives went looking for the knife where they thought it was at the University of Utah, they discovered it was gone, as was evidence in about 20 other homicides from before 1983.
And that's what we're looking for, is who might know.
Now, detectives are hoping someone knows where the evidence went, including the knife from the Adams murder. It may have been moved years ago and wasn't recorded. Police say if they can find where it went, they could maybe get a DNA sample and close a chapter in the tragic end of some of these unsolved cases.
We don't know, but we've got to try, and we've got to bring that closure to the family and for the victim.